These are some of the coolest Xbox accessories that you should buy. On this channel, I have tested hundreds of Xbox products to try and find the best so you can build the ultimate Xbox gaming setup. And this video will cover some of the most recent releases that I have been personally using. At this point, I've made quite a lot of these Xbox accessories videos, and that's because there's a lot of things to try out. But recently, this year, there has been a whole bunch of new Xbox accessories that have launched for the Series S and X that have really taken it to the next level and have replaced all the suggestions that I previously would have said were worth getting, whether it be the same style of product or just way better performance for the price point. The first one that I actually want to take a look at is the new Xbox controller. This thing looks insane, and it's perfect for a lot of OG sort of nostalgic Xbox gamers or even just sort of like PS2 gamers from back in the day. This is the new Sapphire Xbox Series S and X controller. They've made a lot of changes with this controller, aesthetically of course, but also the product box. They've actually changed the shape of it. Usually the Xbox boxes are like a little bit bigger and squares, but this is tiny. Anyways, the main reason for this... Well, it was a fail, wasn't it? Anyways, the main reason for this suggestion is not because this controller does anything special in particular, but more it is just really cool how it looks, and it's a great option for upgrading your gaming setup. As you can see right here, this transparent top has a very retro vibe about it, like sort of like early 2000s. Like there's a lot of transparent Xbox and original consoles, which I've actually got one down here in the studio. This brings back that old 2000s feeling, but modernizes it for the newer consoles. And as a whole, this has to be one of the best Xbox gamepads they've released, hands down. I've owned pretty much all of them, like the Master Chief Limited Series Elite 2, also the 20th anniversary controller, which was prior to this, one of my favorite ones. That was also transparent as well on the top controller shell. But this is absolutely beautiful. You can see how the blue glistens. You can see inside of the controller here. You've got the nice rear grips at the back with the rubber pads, textures on the triggers. These triggers have also got a nice sort of metallic look to them, so they're a little bit spicier than normal. But the way they've blended all the different tones of blue with one another adds an extra degree of class and style to your Xbox gaming setup. Now, my next recommendation isn't actually an Xbox accessory. It's its own standalone gaming console, but if you are an Xbox gamer, something like this pairs perfectly in combination with your console. This right here is the new MSI Claw, which is a handheld gaming device. Now, I'm not specifically saying that you should just get the MSI Claw. There's a whole bunch of handheld consoles that fall in this category. There's the new one by Asus, which is the ROG Ally X. That's got upgraded performance, absolutely insane, very good battery life on that as well. I'm personally yet to test that one, but I've seen some very good videos on it. There's also things like the Steam Deck that you can pick up very cheap now and do some storage upgrades on them to get lots of space on there and pick them up used off of the internet. That's a great option too. But something I particularly like about the MSI Claw, which is the one I've spent the most time with this year as the main handheld that I've been testing and using, is the fact that it runs Windows 11. Things like the Steam Deck run Linux, which sometimes glitches out a little bit with compatibility. Because this runs Windows 11, it means your Xbox Game Pass works on Xbox Game Pass PC and also on your Xbox console. So you have cloud saves on here, so you can pick up and continue your Xbox games fluidly on this device. So I can play things like Forza Horizon 5 on this device away from home and then come back to the studio and play it on my main gaming setup behind me here. Same save, same everything, just continue the progression flawlessly. And this is what I like about these handheld devices, particularly the ones that are running Windows straight out of the box. You don't need to mod them and reinstall all that type of stuff. It's just very, very easy. I've been traveling quite a lot for work recently, which means I've been away from my main gaming setup at home. And devices like the MSI Claw have enabled me to continue my game saves and progression within whatever titles that I'm playing while I am on the move, which is great. Seriously, without something like this, I would have been playing like no video games at all this year, just been traveling around doing work and then have like a couple hours here or there when I was back at home. So it's allowed me to fill that dead time, whether that be on an airplane, in an airport, waiting for a plane, something like that. And they are definitely devices of the future. Once they start improving things like battery life on these things and make them even more efficient, my word, they're absolutely gonna be killer, these handheld devices, in a couple of years time. It's definitely much better than something like the PlayStation Portal. This genuinely allows you to take your games on the go and play them natively on the device. Because this is its own computer, yeah, it's got a graphics processor, it's got a CPU, so you can play them online or offline without any issues whatsoever. Whereas things like even like a Logitech G Cloud or a PlayStation Remote Player, those are cloud-based, so you need active internet connection to stream the game to the device, which obviously has issues whether your internet's fast enough, but of course sometimes you don't always have access to the internet. So this thing works great because you can put it in aeroplane mode and continue playing your games offline. Then when you reconnect, when you land or arrive wherever you need to be, it then syncs back up with your console back at home, Xbox Game Pass, cloud gaming, etc., and all the cloud saves seamlessly perfect. Definitely not a device for everyone, but if you are potentially one of my older viewers that does travel a lot for work and you don't have as much time spent at home on your console, or you spend it with your family instead, so it reduces the active amount of gaming hours you have, this could be potentially a pretty great solution for you. Something that I'm a huge fan of on the Xbox is its compatibility with mouse and keyboard support. Many years ago, I did a video talking about could an Xbox Series S replace a budget gaming PC. I was one of the first YouTubers to make a video on this when I was absolutely tiny. I had like 10,000 subscribers or something ridiculous. And then everyone made a video on it and they're like, I've come up with this great idea. We're going to plug in a keyboard today to the Xbox. But since I made that video, and I'm going to make an updated one very soon, so be sure to subscribe, there's been a whole bunch of new games and support for mouse and keyboard because so many gamers have adopted this way of playing on their Xbox. If you aren't aware, you can connect a mouse and keyboard to your Xbox console, which enables you to kind of replicate the experience of a gaming PC. So you can play things like Call of Duty, Fortnite, for example, with a mouse and keyboard, just like you would if you were playing on a desktop computer, which will make potentially allow it to be more competitive. Depends what you prefer. Some people prefer controllers. I personally prefer a mouse and keyboard. I'm 1,000 times better with one of these. So it allows you to almost simulate or emulate the experience of a PC gamer, but at a much cheaper price point. Obviously, an average gaming PC that's half decent, $800 tops, so maybe £1,000 minimum you need to drop on something half decent. Whereas you can pick up something like an Xbox Series S for about $250 even used, and it gives you similar performance, 120 hertz, whatever. Some games do support the 1440p. So you're getting that mid-tier gaming PC for a very low budget entry-level price. Then you can connect the mouse and keyboard to it, whether that be a wired one or a wireless option like these ones. Now, these are the brand new ones from Logitech that literally just dropped. We've got the new G309, which is their sort of new budget entry-level wireless mouse. It's a little bit pricey, but I think a lot of people are missing the fact that there's inflation going on. I've seen loads of YouTubers going, this is $15 or $20 more than the mouse it's replacing. But the mouse it's replacing, I think, came out in like 2016 or something crazy. So there's been a lot of changes in the world with pricing and stuff like that. So it kind of, I just think it is what that is worth at this point in time. I think people seem to miss that little factor of economics. Not going to go into that because I'm not going to bore you to death. But I think that's why it's a little bit more expensive. But anyways, this is their new G309, which is a wireless mouse that I actually really like. It's very lightweight, and you can also take off different parts of the mouse to reduce the weight even further. And in many ways, it is a budget version of their Superlight 2. I use the G Pro Superlight 2 on my main gaming setup. This mouse feels very similar to that when I've been using it. In fact, I've been using this a little bit more recently, but the only difference is it doesn't have an internal battery. You throw a little AA battery in there, but it does have a super cool feature where you can pair this up with the Power Play, which is that very innovative wireless charging mouse pad that Logitech made. You throw a little thing in there and it'll wirelessly charge completely with that little magnetized, almost like MagSafe for Apple, on there. But obviously that mouse pad's a little bit expensive, but you do get, I think, like 30-40% off if you purchase it as a bundle of that mouse pad. So that's an option. I think 95% of people ain't probably going to go for that option, is going to buy the mouse and run it with a AA battery. But I think this is a great option for that Xbox Series S. Yes, you could get a wired one. I've talked about wired ones in the past at like $15-20, but that wireless is just going to give you a bit more freedom to step further away from your TV or your monitor and move things about whilst also using your controller, so you can pack it away just a bit easier. Of course, you're not going to have the feature set of Logitech's G Hub software on your Xbox Series S, but the good thing is, because these mice, it's got 5 onboard memory slots, so you can boot this up onto your laptop or a PC, and not necessarily even a game PC, just something that runs Windows, and then tweak and change all of the settings on the mouse, and it saves onto the onboard memory. So you've got 5 slots on here for different DPI settings and so on that you can switch between, which will then be replicated and do the same thing on your Xbox Series S, and a few workarounds there. Then in regards to the keyboard, may as well talk about this one as well because it came out at the same time as this mouse. This is the new G515 Lightspeed TKL. It's essentially a budget-orientated version of the G915 TKL. That was my personal go-to choice back in 2021 up until about 2022, 23. I purchased that keyboard back where it was peak price. It was super expensive keyboard back then. It was like the keyboard that everyone was using. I bought that on Amazon ages ago, but that, I think at the time, was like 250 quid, something crazy like that. This is about 130, 140 pounds off the top of my head. It's almost, I'm not gonna say half the price, but kind of half the price for what I paid for the G915 back in when it first came out. And it fundamentally gives you everything that keyboard kind of has. Aesthetically looks almost identical, and the key strokes are slightly different, but they still feel good, pretty fine for like that mid-range gamer. But the biggest thing that it is missing is the volume control thing. So if you are using this on a PC, it ain't got like a volume rocker, which is a little bit annoying. But to be fair, most gaming headsets have volume controls on them, so you probably don't need that. I know on my headset, I always just tweak it with the little dial on the ear. But if you're using this on your Xbox Series S and X, you don't care about any of those features that it ain't got because you can't use them on there anyway. So this is just a nice, tidy looking keyboard and mouse combo that is small, high quality, and does the job. You can connect it via the little USB dongle into the back of your console, and then you're up and running. It'll work in all those different games that have mouse and keyboard support. And of course, this mouse and keyboard does also come in various colors, both black and white, which means it can match whatever type of Xbox you purchase. Whether you've got the brand new digital all-white Xbox Series X or the OG Series S in robot white, or you've got the carbon black Series S and the original Xbox Series X, you can aesthetically tie all of that in. Switching our focus over to something a little bit cheaper and smaller, I want to talk about some thumbstick modifications that I've found. Now, these right here are particularly Minecraft themed, but you don't necessarily have to get the Minecraft ones. They come in a whole bunch of different themes. So these right here are Minecraft themed thumbstick toppers. The particular reason why I purchased the Minecraft one is because obviously Microsoft, Minecraft, Xbox, it's all sort of owned by the same company. But a few years ago, I actually purchased a limited edition Xbox One S, which was Minecraft themed, and it came with a limited edition controller and console. Very, very cool product that was. But the biggest problem with the controller was the thumbsticks were worn out. The kid must have played like 1,000,000 hours of Minecraft who had it prior to me, and the thumbsticks were completely worn out. As you can see on my controller, like I play Xbox a lot, but the thumbsticks are holding up pretty well. But on much, much older controllers, if you've had like, I know my original Xbox One controller, like that thing, the whole left thumbstick's like completely gone. So things like this allow you to keep using your old controller, but basically just give it a new lease of life for like less than $5. You can throw these on top of the thumbstick and it just gives you a new bit of grip on there, but also makes it like aesthetically way prettier. If I still had that Xbox Minecraft console, I could have thrown these on because they were Minecraft themed, and it would have meant the whole controller looked almost brand new because the whole controller was in decent condition. It was just the thumbsticks, from what I recall, were in terrible nick, which made it look ancient. So stuff like this allows you to throw these on top to make your controller look a little bit healthier than it may currently be, but also it allows you to protect your controller and give you a little bit more comfort if you are gaming. This gives you way more grip. It's a little bit more of a dome style now rather than an in-cave thumbstick like it was previously. So it's a little bit more like a PS3 or even PS2 controller now, which feels really nice actually. Now, my next recommendation in this video was going to be the Next Level Racing GT Lite Pro cockpit. This is a budget entry-level cockpit that's fairly comfortable, but has a decent degree of flexibility in terms of the size that it actually takes up. Usually when you buy a cockpit, they're either super expensive or super big, so you can't fold it away and pack it down when you're not always playing on the racing games. Now, unfortunately, even though I have tested this product before in the past at different events, the one that I've actually been sent out at my studio has been a nightmare to build to an extent where I wouldn't actually recommend this offering. Just check this out, for example. At the rear of the chair, you're meant to be able to attach this bar, and this little screw pulls out nice and easy. And this works perfectly fine on one side of the chair. Then on the other side of the chair, this screw is completely seized. It will not move at all. No matter how much force I put into that screw, it is going absolutely nowhere. So you can't even build the chair properly. In addition to this, a bunch of screws have been missing, and I'm only on like stage 3 or 4 of the build. For example, these screws at the back, only one of them is there. The other one is completely missing. Pretty dreadful quality control here, which I'm quite surprised by. I've had a few Next Level Racing cockpits over the last few years, ones that I've purchased as well, and their motion platform, which I also purchased. This is quite a surprise. So I don't really know what I'm meant to do with this simulator other than literally throw it out because it's missing all the screws and I can't build it. That's absolutely crazy. So instead, I would recommend something like the Playseat Trophy. The one I specifically own is the Logitech G Edition. It's available in 3 different variations: the standard white, red, and black. Then there's the Logitech one as well. Doesn't really matter which one you choose. This is a little bit more expensive. It's around £200 more expensive than what I was going to suggest here from Next Level Racing, which is a shame, but it is still nice and compact. It's a decent size. It's lightweight, so you can move it around, and it's perfect for like a living room gamer, somebody who wants to set it up and then slide it behind the sofa or something like that when they're not always sim racing. Perfect for someone who's going from casual to a little bit more serious within their sim racing equipment. Now, there is another offering from Playseat that they recently announced, which is called the Formula Instinct. I'm gonna try check this out because it's the same price as
the trophy from Playseat, but it's more of a traditional simulator vibe, and also it looks pretty cool. It looks really, really cool because it's like a Formula seating position, and it seems to be way cheaper than their normal Formula simulators, and they're more expensive, like $2,000 Formula simulators that they create. So I'm very interested to see why it's much cheaper and what the sort of, you know, sacrifices are on there. So be sure to subscribe because I'll try to get my hands on one of those. And I'm also going to be building out a brand new sim racing rig very, very soon with a much bigger simulator and potentially even some motion on that as well. So be sure to follow so you don't miss those videos.
And this, of course, transitions us perfectly onto which type of steering wheel would you pair with something like this. Now, I personally would probably go for something like the MSI R3. This is a direct drive steering wheel, and it's insanely spec for the price point. So if you aren't aware, there's two different types of steering wheels. You've got a direct drive steering wheel and also a belt-driven steering wheel like the Logitech G923. Now, the G923 was by far one of the best go-to entry-level steering wheels for many years. It's dominated it for decades, the G27, the G29, and so on. But now we have direct drive technology, which used to be premium. It used to be like for the rich kids to get the direct drive wheels. But this is now literally at the same price point as a Logitech G923. The biggest difference with direct drive is the massive increase in detail and strength that you get, and also the operation of the wheel is way quieter. With a belt-driven wheel, it's still using mechanical elements inside of it, so it clunks and clacks, and also the smoothness of the wheel isn't as good because it's got the little cogs actually going around in the wheelbase. Whereas with direct drive, it removes all of this and has much stronger forces inside of the wheelbase, and also the wheelbases can be smaller. The MSI R3 is so small that it literally fits in my hand, which is crazy. Like, you can hold it in your hand, it's crazy, but the strength of it is around 3.9 Newton meters, which is just off scale compared to the belt-driven Logitech G923. It's also got an interchangeable wheel system, so you can switch it out to any of the wheels inside of the MSI ecosystem, upgradable pedals as well, where you can add brake mods, and of course additional accessories including handbrakes. There's also app integration for creating different profiles and setups for your favorite games, and it is an officially licensed Xbox product. I believe it's one of the only officially licensed direct drive steering wheels for the Xbox Series S and X. If you're in the market for a racing wheel accessory, I think this is a great option, but the Logitech G923 is still very good for the price point, especially if you can get it in a sale. If you can pick that up in like an Amazon Prime Day sale, I've seen them for like 58% off, where you look at like 120 pounds tops for that entire Logitech setup, then that's still a great option to go. But if you're looking at these for full retail price without any sales involved, the MSI R3 is just a completely different caliber of wheel. Let's switch our focus back to a moment to controllers. Always controllers. These videos are like controller, but these are controller holders. Now on this channel, I've talked a lot about these particular ones from cable guys on Amazon. They always seem to be releasing new ones, and I like buying them. As simple as that. Anyways, these controller holders are available in various different characters from your favorite video games and also movies. I personally already own the Spider-Man one, the Master Chief one, and also Ghost from Call of Duty. But I recently came across these slightly newer ones for the Star Wars movies. Now, obviously, Star Wars is rubbish since Disney purchased it. But Mandalorian was good, but beyond that, everything else is terrible, especially that new Outlaws game. But let's not talk about that one. It might upset and trigger a few people. But these are still cool. It doesn't stop my love for what used to be a great franchise. Now, these controller holders are slightly different to the ones that I've featured in past videos, and that's because they hold the controller in a different position. So let's take a look at this Mandalorian one, because I don't think it's broken. I just think it's separated in the box. We'll figure that out. Yeah, I like that. Cool. So the biggest difference with these figures are the way that it holds the controller at the bottom instead of at the top. Now, the other ones are very cool, but the issue is it holds the controller like over the face of the character, so you can't quite see the character when it's on there. And depending on what type of controller you've got, like if you've got a Pro one with loads of buttons on the back, it doesn't quite sit square on it, so it can sometimes fall off, and it's not the most secure. Whereas here, it allows the top of the figurine to be clear, but then it holds the controller at the bottom where the legs would be, so it doesn't really cover anything up anyways. And I think overall, like just looking at that straight out of the box, I quite like that. It's pretty smart.
Just a quick note here, I did actually manage to get the Venom controller. It randomly came in stock like a week after sort of filming this video, and it's awesome. It's massive compared to the other ones, and also really heavy. Like the build quality on that thing is absolutely insane. It's not that much more. It's only around like £10 more, I want to say, off the top of my head. But it looks really cool in combination with the Spider-Man one next to it. It's slightly bigger. It's not to scale, but obviously Venom is bigger than Spider-Man. At least they have made the statue controller a little bit bigger, so it isn't little tiny Venom that would just look stupid. Now, I've actually gone ahead and replaced the Boba Fett controller holder with the Venom one. It was broken inside of the box. I did stick it back together, just like clicking it in place, but with the controllers constantly coming on and off it, that wasn't good enough. So I think it needs fixed with some glue and it should be fine. It doesn't need thrown out. It just needs a little bit of TLC and that'll be up and running. We'll throw that somewhere else in the room, but I think these look pretty nice.
Finally, taking a break from controllers and controller accessories, let's take a look at this capture card that recently was released by Elgato. This is the brand new Elgato 4K X, which is a capture card that has been specifically designed for HDMI 2.1. Prior to this capture card, it was an absolute nightmare trying to get gameplay. Now, of course, on your Xbox and even PS5, you can capture gameplay clips on the console itself, but the quality of them isn't really like wowzers. It's got quite a low bit rate to them. It takes up a lot of space on the internal console unless you've got an external SSD connected. It's not the best, and I find it a pain to try and get the footage off of the console onto like my laptop or something for actually editing. Whereas this thing right here is an external capture card that doesn't require you to have like an insane gaming PC. Most capture cards are PCIe, so they plug into a PCIe lane on a motherboard, so you need like a cool gaming computer to capture footage and a cool graphics card for it to process it. Whereas this is all external via USB Type-C, so you can plug it into your laptop, boot up the Elgato capture software, and then you can externally capture 4K 144 Hz and also 10-bit HDR, and also have 4K 144 Hz FPS pass-through. So you don't have any impedance to the gameplay. You still have the exact same gaming experience on your TV or monitor, but then you can pass through the signal into your laptop to capture that for YouTube, TikTok, or whatever you want to make content and clips on. This has quickly became my go-to capture card, and that's because it is movable. I can move this around the studio, so no matter what I need to capture via HDMI, I can move this with a laptop, whereas the PCIe cards in the gaming systems, I literally have to move the gaming computer or move the console to that desk to plug it into that capture card. Whereas this, I can just move it around the room wherever we have a HDMI device and just throw it straight to the laptop. And it's all powered by the USB Type-C. So that's just powered straight from the laptop and also transfers all of the data flawlessly. The specs on this thing are just insane, especially compared to the old HD60X it's replacing that could only do 4K 30 FPS, only 60 FPS 4K pass-through, and a whole bunch of other limitations, especially not having the HDMI 2.1 functionality. That is a game changer. I had the old versions of these capture cards and they were HDMI 2.0, which meant they had like a lot of no signal issues. They fixed it with a few firmware things, but sometimes you would plug in your PS5 or your Xbox Series X and it was like a 50-50 chance whether it would get detected or not. And then halfway through, if the screen would like go black in a cutscene, it would just say no signal Elgato on the capture, and you'd be like, oh, that's ruined the take. So you'd have to re-edit everything. It's really annoying, whereas I haven't had those issues with the actual HDMI 2.1 newer gen versions. It seems to be flawless. Pretty niche product for some people watching this video. You're probably not all making YouTube videos or want to be live streamers or something like that. But I do get quite a lot of questions in my videos surrounding how am I capturing such high quality gameplay when I do showcase it. While we're on the topic of being a live streamer, the headset that they all seem to use is this new Astro A50 X. Now, when I was a kid, the Astro sort of A50s were like that was the headset, you know what I mean? Like all the cool gamers used the big Astro headphones, like some of my favorite YouTubers, like Frankie on the PC, all those types of guys. They didn't even necessarily even have a face cam, but this is what they were using even for some of their microphone stuff. So as a kid, I always wanted these headphones, and they met my expectations. This is obviously the new version of them for the newer consoles, and I find them very comfortable. So the biggest feature on these is the cross compatibility. So yes, they are a very expensive set of headphones. However, they work on your PS5, your Xbox Series S, and also your gaming PC, all via this little dock here. So at the back of this dock, you've got all the HDMI ins and outs, and then there's like a load of splitter cables that come with this. So it allows you to route multiple devices into the dock, which also acts as a charging base for the headset. So you throw it in here, boom, it charges. And then you essentially just sort of switch between the devices that you want to use this headset on. So it is very expensive on paper as a headset, but then when you break down the fact that it works across all of your consoles, it's kind of pretty cheap, because prior to this headset, I had multiple headsets for each console that I wanted to play on. I had my headset for my PS5, had my headset for my gaming PC, and also I had my headset for my Xbox Series S and X. So I had 3 headphones, all of which on average probably cost between $80 to $120 each. Whereas now you can get this one pair of headphones that does all of it. So you're probably going to save around $100 to $200 compared to the individual sets that you're going to have to purchase. It's just so comfortable. Like, I don't even really know how to explain it. It just fits your head. It just seems like auto for your head. It's great. It has everything you would pretty much want from a gaming headset, and the adjustability is fantastic. So you can adjust the height of the earphones with this little slider here, and it's very premium for you. Like, it's very specific when it slides in and out. It doesn't like click like a cheap headset goes. This just has very linear adjustment in terms of how smooth it is. But also, I just seem to find when I put it on, like, it just seems to fit your head really well. And I have quite a small head. I struggle with headphones. Like, they always, even on the smallest settings for a headset, it like falls off my head. Like when I go to the gym and I have my Bose headphones on, when I'm lying down doing, whatever, they fall off, like, and I have to put them back on, which is really annoying. Whereas these, like, I'm not even got them on the smallest setting, but they still fit nicely sort of in that middle point. So if you've got a small head, big head, normal sized head, brilliant. It's also got a nice feature which includes auto microphone muting. So you have it down like this, the microphone will be on, and then when you put it up out of the way, it automatically mutes the mic. This sounds like a ridiculous feature, but I used to have a Sennheiser gaming headset when I was about 15 or 16 that had this feature, and I found it awesome because whenever your parents, someone would come in the room, you could mute it like that and then talk to your parents, or they could shout you or whatever, tell you off for being too loud. And then you could put it back on and be like, hey mate, how you doing? It's very fast versus having to press buttons. And then if you press the wrong button and it enables Bluetooth and it disconnects your headset or something stupid, that boom, you always just were confident it was off, confident it was on. And then the fact that the base also doubles up as a wireless charger is a neat little feature. Wireless headsets, you always forget to charge them, or you boot them up and it's like, oh, you've got 10% left. Damn. So you gotta like play with the cable plugged in for like 10 minutes while it charges up. This means as soon as you finish with your gaming session, instead of just throw them on your desk and them getting broken, you put them away nice and neat on the nice magnetized base as well. So they click perfectly into place. As you can see, when you just lower it down, it then like magnetizes in. So then that'll charge it, keep the headset safe. So then when you come back to play, they're going to be full juice. Now for the final product, this isn't necessarily an accessory for your Xbox or anything that you would use to enhance your gaming, but it might make your room look a little bit cooler. This is the brand new Xbox 360 Mega Block set. It's essentially a Lego set, but of the Xbox 360. Unfortunately, it would have been 1,000 times better if this was Lego. I found it very frustrating to build. I never really had Mega Blocks before. I'd only ever purchased Lego because that's where it's happening, ain't it? But I found that the instructions and just the quality of the bricks molds just weren't as good. Like when you were building it, like stuff just wouldn't click into place. It was the most frustrating experience I've ever had. And I love building Lego stuff. Like it's meant to be relaxing. That's the whole point. So I found the build of it a little bit annoying. But what this does have is very cool light effects. So it has little special Mega Block lights that light up the power button on the controller, on the console, inside of the console as well. These are nice little touches that you don't necessarily always get with Lego, other than on like ridiculously expensive sets. So this is quite cool. And obviously the final product, when it is constructed, is very smart. It's a recreation, like a replica recreation of the original Xbox 360. Even the product box looks like an Xbox 360 console. And then you even get a copy of Halo 3 with your own little mini disc and all sorts of stuff. It's a nice little nostalgia throwback to the Xbox 360. And of course, with that I think it's about 20, what is it, like almost 20 years, something like that. They've just closed down, obviously, all of the marketplace and things. So it's a nice sort of goodbye to what was probably one of the best Xbox consoles. And in my personal opinion, one of the best consoles ever made. You basically know the PS2 sold more units, but the Xbox 360 made that hit different. This Mega Block set used to be exclusive to Target in America. In fact, I bought mine in America and flew it back to the UK in my suitcase. But thankfully, now throughout this year, it's actually available worldwide. You can pick it up pretty much anywhere in the UK now. I think it's on Amazon. I think it's also in like Currys and different stores like that. So you can get it in many different regions. It's not just exclusive to the USA like it previously was. It's a great option for a gift if you're maybe purchasing somebody something for Christmas and they love Xbox, or it's something that you can get for yourself. And especially if you've got the time to build it a little bit more chill, it might be a bit more fun. I think I had a lot of work going on. I was trying to fit this in between stuff. The instructions were terrible, so it was just an overall stressful experience for myself. If I had like a million hours to just potter away with it, it may be a completely different experience for you. Just my set was missing some bits as well. I just maybe didn't have the best experience. Now, of course, these are just some of the latest Xbox accessories that have launched this year that are worth checking out for your gaming setup. But if you're looking for even more suggestions of some of the Xbox products that you could buy, you should check out this video next, where I bought the coolest Xbox accessories ever made. But as always, I've been Ben Rowlands. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.